Alright guys, so this is the first lesson pulled out of Elements of Style by Strunk and White, which is of course a classic of grammar and composition and a writing booklet basically used by novice writers and veteran writers alike. So it begins with these elementary rules of usage, and the first one is form the possessive singular of nouns by adding apostrophe s. So it deals with apostrophes, right? Now this seems simple enough, but you have to understand, okay, what this means. Possessive singular of nouns. So you're dealing with nouns, okay? So for example, if I took the noun Charles, which is of course a proper noun, okay, it ends in s, right? Which gets tricky. Do you add the apostrophe s if it's Charles's friend, right? Well, according to this rule, you do. As awkward as that might seem, that's what it needs to be. Charles's friend, okay? So if you're following the rule, right? If we want to consider another one, Burns is a common last name. Burns' poems. Burns' poems. Okay, however you want to say it, it needs to be written like you see up there. Okay. There are exceptions to this rule, okay, but usually they have to do with ancient figures, okay, so when we write about Jesus' disciples, okay, it should be only the apostrophe, okay, when we talk about Moses' laws, same thing, only the apostrophe, okay, or if we take, from a different people group, Isis, Egyptian goddess, Isis's temple, same thing. Okay, so those would be exceptions to the rule, but in general, you always want to take this rule as it is. Form the possessive singular of nouns by adding apostrophe s. Okay. Now, in relation to this, a few other possessive conundrums that you come across when you're writing. One of them you could call the pronominal possessives. Okay, pronominal possessives. Again, you don't have to know these words, but you'll recognize them when you see them in use. Okay. Whose is this, right? Let's see. It is hers. Okay. Does hers need an apostrophe there? No. Okay. Whose are these? They are theirs. Okay, so this is these are pronominal possessives. Hers, theirs, it's, yours. Okay. Now, when you have an indefinite pronoun, right, like one's rights, you do use the apostrophe. Okay. An indefinite pronoun would be one here, right? That's a pronoun identifying an indefinite person. Okay. Or say somebody else's umbrella. Same thing, you'd have the apostrophe there. I won't write that one out. Okay. So it's important to understand when you need the apostrophe, like in this situation, and when you don't. Okay. Lastly, is the case of ITS, which is something that is often misunderstood or misused. Okay, it's, right? Okay, and what we can do is take a classic sentence here, pulled right out of the book. It's a wise dog that scratches its own fleas. Okay, so you see that sentence, and you see that it's is used at the beginning and in the middle here, towards the end, and you have to be able to discern when you need the apostrophe between the T and the S and when you don't. Okay, I'll give you a hint. One needs it, one doesn't. Okay, and the way to tell is which one is saying it is, which one is a contraction. If it's a contraction, then you need the apostrophe. If it's not, you don't need the apostrophe, right? So this is the possessive, its own fleas. Whose fleas? Its own, right? So this would be the possessive use of ITS, and because of that, that's why it's often confused, because we think of possessive meaning you have to have the apostrophe. Okay, but in this case it's the opposite. This is the contraction. What you're really saying is it is, so you need to have the apostrophe for the first one, not the last one. Okay, so in general, form the possessive singular of nouns by adding apostrophe s, no matter what the letter is at the end of the word.